Hey folks, welcome to where I do CSS battles from the past. These are from the 13th, 14th, and 15th of January 2024. I always love doing these. Let's get right to it. All right, I definitely did this with lots of gradients and cone gradients. Let's see if we can do it with no gradients whatsoever. So let's make a first element and see what we need to do this with display flex. So let's make that height. I guess these are a little smaller. We're gonna make it a variable because we have variable heights here. Variable of a height or 50, and we need to give it a width because we're going to be using display flex. We'll call it 50 as well. We'll put a proper background. Okay, and I know we're going to need a gap, but I don't know what that gap is. We'll call it 20 pixels. It could be 20 pixels. So, and let's and we know we need a display flex. Display flex, and then flex wrap. And that little nudge you just saw, flex wrap flex, or wrap rather, flex wrap, was the margins of the paragraph tag kicking into place. We're probably going to need 2 numbers for gap. We'll find out what we need. All right, so let's do it. We've got 2 there now. So let's adjust our margins down. 3, 35, 8, 100. Okay, and now our width is wrong. How about 70, 80, 90? Looks like our gap is okay for now. And then what do we need next? We need to be a little taller. Our height, our widths I think are fine. Our height needs to be 55. So it's a whole 60. Oh, 61. No, 59. 59. Yeah. 59. Okay. So that's going to be flipped on its x-axis, so we're going to give it an x attribute. Now these next ones are purple, and we're going to give that a p attribute for purple. We're going to say p, there's that attribute, and we're going to say background, and then we'll call that -b is purple. To have that go into effect, we need to use var -b, comma, and then we got it. And then let's do this again. All right, and we got problems with the gap and the way this is wrapping. Let's adjust these numbers and see if we can get this to behave more properly. So the height, the height of the purple ones is less high, less tall. So let's change that. H of 30. And that's not tall enough, probably. But we got all these. This gap is a real problem. How about, what do we need to do? 0? No, that's not it. It's the first number, 0. They are not behaving. Okay, so here's what we need to do, and we also need a clip path. Clip path. And then these final ones are also twisted on the y-axis, so they're flipped upside down. So we need to do a scale. Scale of var -x or 1, which is don't do anything, and then var -y or 1. So let's create those 2 other attributes. X -x is -1, and y -y is -1. Now, you can't see that because flipping a rectangle upside down or horizontally doesn't do anything. We need a clip path. Clip path is a var dash dash p or polygon of 0, 0, top left corner, 100%, 100%, bottom right corner, 0, 100%. There we go. So, and then for purple, we need to short circuit that dash dash p and not have a click path. We could do dash dash p of none to have it work, or we can just have the custom variable set and then short circuit it by not giving it any value just because it appears. But we got a problem with the sizing here, or the spacing. The spacing is no good. Does that mean I need to go ahead and do a margin of 0? Yeah, I think that does it. So something about the way that's working was just not doing the right thing. So let's increase 40, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. And then the height is too tall or not tall enough. How about, oh, was it stretching those guys? It might have been stretching them, and that's no good. Okay, so then our gap is wrong between, so what is that, 5 pixels, 10 pixels, or do we have a problem with our margins? Oh, okay. 7, 8, 9, 100. Ugh, we got problems. We got problems. So that's scrunching it too much. We'll eyeball it. 60, 70, 60, 60, 50. 50 rather. Close. How about 40? There it is. So we have a different margin on the top and the bottom, even though we've unset our margins on the paragraph. It's doing its best in the flex layout, as I understand it, to even out the spacing between these things, and we don't want that for our purposes at all, even though aesthetically it's kind of nice to get that kind of effect. We don't want it at all. So let's see if we've got a match. We do. So let's minify and unit replace, and we're done with this one. This is great. But yeah, definitely one that I've done background, multiple background, linear gradients, conic gradients, lots of ways to do this one. You could do a single element and flop it on the x-axis. There's many choices, many choices. What's the shortest? Well, do it yourself. Try it yourself. If you got the Plus membership, which is a few dollars a month, you can get access to these prior CSS battles. They're pretty great. Next, oh yeah, this is a fun one. I think this is the 201st one, and definitely because we've got that sort of pill shape, we want to take advantage of border radius. Right, so let's and I think display flex for sure too. So let's put our background color in first, and then let's put a display flex. We don't need flex wrap, but we do need widths, which is going to be a variable because that last one is not as wide, is it? Var of dash dash w or 100. Okay. And then the background of this one, we're just going to rough in a color, and we know we need a border radius. Border radius of, we'll do a 30Q just to start with. Let's see if we can get away with that. All right. And we need more than one. And I don't know if you notice, when we added the third one, it's scrunched. So probably not wide. Yeah, and we don't want that, right? And we want a gap. We don't know what it is. Let's do 30 pixels to start. All right, our margins are wrong. 5. That's 50 on the sides. And that looks pretty good. This final one, and I'll give it a C as our identifier C, and that width is less. --W of 40. Not wide enough. How about 50? 52. 105. And then a height of 200. All right, we're getting close. That's our start. Not quite there yet. Is that gap wrong? The gap might be wrong. Okay, so to debug this, let's, what do we need to debug this? Okay, we need more margin on the top first, and actually let's get rid of the border radius just so we can see, not get distracted by the other shapes. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 59, and then our height is 160. How about 150? 150. Okay. And you can see the diffs, they're just not quite right. So this gap might be wrong. Let's do gap at 20 or 10. So make sure we get our heights or our width correct. 100. So it's 100, and then let's increase this gap 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20, 25, 24, 25. Ooh, 26, 24. So what's going on there? It's possible this margin is different, so I'm going to try to account for that. So right now it's 59 on the top and 59 on the bottom, and then 50 on each side. So I need the side, this other side, I'm going to do 0, and then the bottom will be 0, and that other side will be 50. So now when I add gap, it shouldn't try to stretch. 25. Ah, okay, and then that width is, so our width of 52, wrong. Okay, now we're in business. These are all aligned, so what do we do next? Let's do, we have some complex shapes to do. We can do border radius of 40%. How about 100Q? And that kind of works for the second and third. 50, 51, 52, 53. But we got a problem. That is outside the bounds of that. So is this one just so different that it's going to need different things? We know that we need to be able to do a block here. So does that mean that we need another attribute? If we give it an attribute of R, then we give it a border radius. Let's do that. R attribute means give it a border radius. Okay, so that's that. So what do we do next? All right, so how do we make this shape? This 2 number. How quickly can we do it? And the R ones are plain background of, so -- B for background is that color. And that means that whatever background we do on the element, the first one, which doesn't have any anythings, is going to have to be a var. So var -- R, comma, or no, var -- R or, and then that's going to be a complicated set of things. So let's start with radial gradient, circle, color. So we'll just start with the go left to right, top to bottom, and we'll do this first little circle here. Circle, 20 pixels, and then transparent. And that's not big enough. Let's do 25. And then let's move it. So at 25 pixels. 25 pixels. All right, so that's our first part. Oh, and then I used R and not B, so let's do B. There it is. Okay, so that's our first part. What's our next part is the question. And can we reuse this radial gradient? What if we didn't do it like this? And what if instead, I don't know if we want that. Let's not overthink it. So let's now do a conic gradient. So we're going to do the brown underneath this and then this using a conic gradient. And we'll do ridiculous colors, yellow, and then this color is fine. This color 25%, and then 0, 75%, and then the brown color. Oh, and then we also need, so I adjusted that thing. So let's put it 0, 0, 50 pixels, 50 pixels, which gives us that. We need a no repeat. What if we do just that? So if we do that, and do repeat Y, but then we also need to move the background position. So I'm doing lots of different little things here. Minus 50 pixels. Okay, that's not too bad. So this needs an at value. So at 50%, 75 pixels. How about lower? So we need to go lower. 85, 100, and that worked. So yellow is what's going through. What we really want is transparent there. All right, so that's our shape now. Getting close. I guess we need a last radial gradient. A circle with that inner gradient of 50 pixels probably, and then transparent. And there it is. And then we need to give that some sizing too. So we need to go upwards. Let's go upwards. So 0 minus 40 pixels, or minus 50 pixels, or minus 25 pixels. There it is. And that's our shape. It's a fun shape too. This is going to be a complicated thing. Even if it was 3 elements, you could do half circle, you could do a circle. It's a lot of code. It's not the best code, but it definitely gets it done. Yeah. Unit replace, minify, submit, and then tune some of the extra space that's in here. And that's a better score than I've gotten in the past, so I'm happy with that. Is there any of this margin stuff that I messed up? No, that's got to stay as it is. Yeah, that needs to stay. Oh, did that? That's a little shorter too. Okay, so I guess there was the width of this final one that was the problem, I think. So that was the problem with that one. Let's resubmit, and then we're done. Actually, there's even more spaces that I could have removed. So okay, one last submit. Last. Super last. Super duper last. All right, so that's the super duper last. All right, And then we got the 15th of January 2024, pure black and pure white. Okay, so that's kind of great. So what's the way to do that? How little code can I write to do this? I can do the hard part is the covering this part here. So let's do that. Let's do that part first. So let's do the blank template. I don't think we want to use paragraph. I have gotten good scores on this one before. I know that I've really tuned it. Tune the borders. I don't think will work unless we create elements inside it to cover up the various parts, because the borders are not going to behave in the way that we hope maybe. So let's do background, and we'll do this cover conic gradient. And rather than white, I'm going to do yellow. So yellow, 25%. And then we will do black, 0, 50%. And then let's do orange to the other part, 0. Yeah. Oh, no, we need to do 75%. And then transparent. Okay, so let's make it less wide and make it repeat. So top corner is 0, 0, and then let's make it less wide. How about 60%? I want this, and 50%. So 50% is too tall, make it 60, 55. 56, 57, 56.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.6, 56.6. So that's no better than like 160 pixels, which I think is what that number is, or 170. 170. Okay. And let's make that width. How about 60, 50, 53, 4, 5. 55%. Okay, cool. And let's use an at 80%, 80%. That's what I'm getting at. So the orange and yellow are going to be our covering white. And then I guess covering white. Now I'm using these outlandish colors just so I can understand the shapes that I'm making, because they need to cover the rest of it. All right. Okay, so this is too low. So let's say 75, 76, 77, 76. Let's try a Q value. 100Q, 200Q, too low. 100Q, 3, 4, 30. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. And what I'm looking at is this difference. 139, 138, 137, 36. No good. How about 100 pixels? 110, 20, 30. Nice even number. No, it's not as good score-wise. 78, 79, 80%, 81, 82. Okay. So that's our first part. And next we'll do almost the same thing. Conic gradient. Which is from 90 degrees 25%, that number, and then we need an at and we need an at value. So it's the syntax is from the number and then at number, not separated by commas. And my understand, if I can't remember last time I tried this, but it also, the from must be before the at as well. Otherwise it won't work at all, and you won't really understand why doesn't that work. Let's try these with Q values. Q or percentages, 10%. Yeah, let's do percent. So 10% might be right. That's great. Okay, so 10% on the vertical, and then 12, 13, 14. All right, now let's do the second one in Q. 10Q. 20, 30, 40. Again, I'm looking at the diff of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. No good. Oh, and terribly, so that 10 view height is what I want. Oh, no, I don't. 10 pixels. 10 view width is what I want. There we go, 10 view width. Okay, this also needs a starting position and then needs to be less big. So 280 pixels, 280, no, 380 pixels, I think, 380 pixels, and then 280 pixels, something like that. All right, let's get rid of the orange. And let's get rid of the yellow. And let's see, where are we at? Kind of not there yet. Also, I think we've got a problem with the covering gradient. We're not over far enough. 80, or we're over too far. 83, 82, 81, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. Sure. Not super excited about that. 130, 130. Yeah, so that's actually, the covering is good now. I think the covering is good, probably. But this is no good. So we need, this at value is, oh, no, it's this. Yeah, the at value is not quite right. 42, 43, 44. Let's do pixels. 30, 40. There it is. 40 pixels, just fine. And then this is too tall. 7, 6. And then it's too wide. 37, 36. All right, let's submit that. I feel like I'm seeing a little divot there, and that's no good. But that's basically the sizing. And okay, so that is the shape. Let's minify and unit replace. Do a little extra space deletion in the spirit of Code Golf. That 90 view width, I think, could be 90% then. That's a little shorter. 10 view width. Can we do that in percent? Did we try that? I think we did. 11, 8, 9, 10, 11. How's that look? Not great. 10.5, 11.5, 12.5, 11, 11.7, 10.7. This is just terrible. So 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11.1%. That saves us a little bit of a space, maybe. Let's submit that. Is that a better score? Let's find out. Okay, and then I believe because we don't have any other elements, we can use the ampersand selector, and that's even a little bit better. So that's, a lot of complicated numbers in here. Not very aesthetically appealing to me, but that's part of the code golf, is that you're tuning some of the values that you choose to use. Now, of course, if you're doing this in a design or creating a game, you would like this to be a little bit more readable. So if somebody else works on this code, they don't have to look at this, what looks like what we used to call line noise, right? Like line noise is like, well, it's just characters, it's static, but actually this is functional code, it's just very odd looking. All right, so that's the 13th, 14th, and 15th of January 2024. You'll notice that I skipped one. The day before this is one that I have never solved. And I don't know if it's one of the ones that has a known problem. Before I do that one, I will research a little bit more. But I will continue going through January and, making all these daily targets and turning them into videos. They have been instructive for me, and I hope they're useful to someone at some point. I love doing them. Have a great day. Make something cool with CSS and HTML. It's really fun to make stuff with HTML and CSS. Take care. Bye.